this is Shari Kaminskas, SLP212, week 6. This is my therapy lesson on expressive language disorder. I have geared it for grades 4th through 6th grade, but once again, it can be tweaked depending on their ability, and it can also be used in the classroom or in a small group setting. And in this particular case, since I'm doing my internship at a clinic, it will be one-on-one. And I have entitled it Super Self and Synonyms, and my goals are twofold, really, because when kids get into about 4th grade, they really are concerned about their peers and what their peers think of them, and they don't want to make mistakes, and they want to fit in, and this just gets gradual and gradual as they get into 6th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade. So what I'm trying to do is I want to assure the child that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different because Johnny might play soccer, but Johnny doesn't do math well. So just kind of, it gives a little comparison. I have a book, it gives a little comparison so that it's okay to be different. So self-esteem is my first goal. The second goal is synonyms. What I want to accomplish with synonyms is, first of all, to express what a synonym is. It's a different word that has the same meaning. Why do we use synonyms? Because we don't want to use the same words over and over again. It can be boring. We want to be creative. If we ever want to write stuff, we want people to be excited about what they're reading. And the third thing is, where can we find synonyms? So I think this is a good way to start off pretty simply with the lesson plan. Once again, the child, we'll call her Sophie, is going to walk in, and I'm going to say, hey, Sophie, high five, because this is what I usually do with the older kids. And I'll say, you look happy. Are you happy today? Hopefully she'll say yes. I go, well, come on over, sit on the couch, let's read a book. And I want to see how happy you really are. Now this book I'm going to read, or we're going to read together. So it depends on the child, but there's a lot of words in this book, but we might just skip them and kind of look at the pictures and try to figure out the story. But it's called Happy to Be Me. And it is about self-esteem and how it's okay to be different and make mistakes and maybe not be like everybody else. So that's what we're going to start with. Excuse me. Then the next thing I want to do is talk a little bit about what another word for happy is. If you're happy to be me, what would be another word that would describe that? How about you're content to be you, you're joyful to be you, you're glad to be you? Different words that they could use, so we can stay with the happy theme and the happy and the being different theme. The next thing is, I have another book, and I must say at this point that I love technology. It's great. I love the iPad, I love the Kindle, and all that kind of stuff, but I'm a little bit old-fashioned, and especially if kids have a challenge, if it's going to be a book, I really like to have them have the book in their hand. This way, they can turn the pages, we can do it together, we can stop and go back if we have to, and they can see the pictures that illustrate and sometimes figure out the story that way. So I'm really big on using books to teach anything. This particular book is called The Boy Who Loved Words. And it's a wonderful story about a boy that was different, and he loved all kinds of words. So he would go around collecting them wherever he could. He would think of words that describe things that nobody else could think of, and he'd write them down. And then he would put them up in a tree. And I actually have a tree here. I don't know if you can see it, but this is going to be one of the things that I'm going to use. We're going to talk a little bit about the book, and then I'm going to say we're going to do some role playing, okay? Sophie, you can be the boy in the book, and I'll be the tree. So we're going to go on a scavenger hunt. And what I want you to do is to go around the room and find all the pieces of paper you can that have names on them. So depending on the child, how many names I would put out, but they're going to collect them and they're going to come over, and on the back of each one is a synonym for the word that's on the front. And these words are words that were used in the book. So they're going to put them on the tree, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about maybe some more words that he could have used. What happened in the story? Did the people start to like him? Was he finally happy? That sort of thing. And so that is the point of that, to learn new synonyms. And I think it would be fun for them to actually put the names on the tree. Then we can sit together and think of other words that aren't in the story, maybe simpler ones that they can come up with that would be easier for them if the story is a little too difficult. Then this is going to last probably about 45 minutes. Obviously, it would be a little bit shorter or longer depending on the child, but once again, I always reiterate when they walk out of the room, hey Sophie, I'll see you next time. You did such a great job today. Thank you for doing super self and synonyms, and I'm really happy you were here. I hope you were happy to be here too. And let's just remember one more time, what is a synonym? So then once again, we would reiterate, it is a different word, different words that have the same or similar meaning. And why do we want to use those words? We want to be creative, we don't want to be boring. And how do we use those words? Oh, I forgot to say that. The thesaurus, that was one of the things I was supposed to bring up on after the story, where do we find words? Well, it's probably not true that there's going to be a little boy running around the world with words in his hands and putting them on a tree. So one of the tools that we use is the thesaurus, which is like a dictionary, and it gives you words, and it gives you several other words that have the same meaning. So that's one of the places you can go to find other words. So what are synonyms? Why do we use them? And how do we find them? That's the essence of the lesson. Thank you.